Before we play the arpeggio with its notated rhythm, let's practice our rhythm. You'll need to be able to switch from quarter notes to eighth notes to triplet eighth notes to 16th notes and to quintuplet 16th notes if you're going to be great at piano. So let's start training up your ability to switch from one rhythmic division to another. We are just breaking steady beats up into smaller pieces. This could be seen as a quarter note. I'm trying to keep a steady beat, but I'm having a little bit of stage fright here on video. But here we go. Here's our quarter note. Let's learn how to go from a quarter note into an eighth note if you don't know already. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 1. You can just count. That can already be great rhythmic training. Just by counting syllables to help you with your rhythmic solfege, you can learn how to switch back and forth. And then you can actually do it with clapping. 1, 2, and 1. There we go, switching from quarter note to eighth notes. Let's practice eighth notes to quarter notes. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. In order to make sure that your quarter note is the right length, it will be great if you just say 1 and 2 and the entire time that we're doing these rhythmic exercises. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, or 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So in our Chopin Waltz arpeggio, we do have a triplet. Whenever you're counting and clapping these, you can say the number of the beat, like 1, 2, or 3 in this case, and then triplet. So you'll have the number is one syllable, and then trip will be the second syllable, and let will be the third syllable. Do not say triplet, because then you lose the information of which beat you're on. We have triplets. Let's count triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Whenever I did arpeggio training with you before, I was just playing the arpeggios as if they were all triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. It's not the way it really is on the paper, but it's good to learn the keys. Let's try going from just a quarter note, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, to the actual clapping of triplets. 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. You'll have to make transitions between different note values all the time, so it is good to do these basic things as well. You never know when you might forget your basics, and it's good to be reminded of the elementary principles. Let's try doing it with triplets first, and without saying all the syllables when I'm doing quarter note clapping. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1, 2, 3. I feel the syllables in my mind. I can hear them in my internal ear whenever I'm clapping without saying them, and I also feel them a little bit in my body. I'm adding extra little micro beats with my body to keep track of where I am. Now, switching from quarter notes to triplet eighth notes is not that hard, but switching from regular eighth notes to triplet eighth notes can be. Let's go back to our eighth notes. And 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. You'll see that before I started clapping the eighth notes, I was already counting to try to get my sense of the rhythmic division. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. So that's an attempt at switching from eighth notes into triplet eighth notes. I'm whispering the counting as I get more familiar with it, as I get more used to it during this session today. Let's go ahead and do our triplet eighth notes, going back into regular eighth notes. I'll keep whisper counting because that really does help me get my rhythmic feet on the ground. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'm tapping my left foot big toe in order to make sure that I keep my beat steady while I'm building this lattice work of divisions around it. The syllables help me cut the beat into the right number of claps, and tapping my foot helps me try to keep the beat the same. Now we have our triplets going into duple eighths. And that is something that we're going to see whenever we play our waltz. It's great whenever you're practicing your triplet in the arpeggio to play the triplet and then stop on the first note of beat 2, because whenever you play the triplet without the first note of beat 2, you can have an unsure sense of where the beats are actually falling. But if you keep some kind of steady beat going with a quarter note, you'll be able to place the triplets in their proper context. I'll play part B, phrase 1, measure 4, without the ornament, and then I'll go into the first beat of part B, phrase 2, measure 1. The counting would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 triplet 2. And now, let's learn and be reminded of counting and clapping 16th notes. If this is our quarter note, 16th notes are going to break this quarter note into 4 parts. We'll need 4 syllables to do it. First, we have the number 1, 2. Then we have E and A as our counting. This rhythmic solfege helps me say something while I'm clapping, helps me fit those micro beats into our larger beat, and helps me keep track of where I am. So the way we count 16th notes is 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and... I was just freestyling there, trying to go from one division to another. So that will be our 16th note division. We don't actually use that in this waltz, but it's good to be reminded of it. Now we're moving into 5 notes on a beat, a quintuplet. This is what we're going to use for the 2nd and 3rd octave of our arpeggio in the Chopin Waltz. And there I stopped on beat 3. I was playing 6 notes, but the first 5 of them is the quintuplet. And then there's beat 3. 1 triplet, 2 quintuplet, 3. Looking at the PDF file linked in the description that explains 1 E and A counting, they also have a solution for what syllables to use in a quintuplet. 2 quin-tu-pl-et. 3. 2 quintuplet, 3. So we're not just saying quintuplet, which only has 3 syllables. We are saying the number of the beat, 2. Quin-tu-p, and then we're making the P sound into an extra syllable, let, 3. So they are cheating a little. They're kind of doing the triplet situation. Only, quintuplet with only 3 syllables, I guess they got to make some solution. And so our quintuplet is going to be played with counting of 2 quintuplet. And now that can help us count, it can help us clap, it can help us play. I'll try to clap and count quintuplets. 1 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 3 quintuplet. I just learned how to do this method of counting for quintuplets today, so it's still really fresh in my mind, but I am glad to finally have a solution. In the past, I would say things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in order to show the beat, I would say 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. But 2 quintuplet might be easier for me to explain to others and be more pedagogically sound. So I'll speed up a little now that I'm getting the hang of it. 1 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 3 quintuplet. Let's try to go from quarters to quintuplets. 1 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 3 quintuplet, 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to hear one quintuplet in my head when I'm doing this clapping. Let's try our E arpeggio with different rhythms now. I want you to be sure to not only play a quintuplet starting here, but like we did before, also practice starting off the arpeggio quickly. So you have some, the beginning of some virtuosic impetus. One quintuplet, two. One quintuplet, two. One quintuplet, two. And if we're going to back up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 quintuplet, 2. Oops. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 quintuplet, 2. I think it was matching up with my toe tapping pretty well, so I'm getting better at switching from eighth notes and quarter notes into a quintuplet. I haven't ever practiced this way, so it's exciting to start this arpeggio with a quintuplet instead of just a triplet. 1 quintuplet, 2. Let's practice starting here, just so we have lots of different permutations. 2 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet. To add difficulty and to grow my ability beyond what I'll actually need when playing the arpeggio in the piece, let's add extra notes. This is one great reason why it's good to have an 88-key keyboard. 1 quintuplet, 2. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to start, yeah, this is 2. 2 quintuplet, 1. 2 quintuplet, 3. Cool. 2 quintuplet, 3. So 1 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 3. There we go. 1 quintuplet, 2 quintuplet, 3. Of course, it's easier without counting. I'm just trying to build my ability. Didn't really make it. I've always been intimidated by arpeggios. This waltz has been good for me. All right, something like that. So that's 2 sets of quintuplets when the real thing only has 1 quintuplet. So now let's practice starting on our higher E with our quintuplet. 2 quintuplet, let's see. 2 quintuplet, 3. 2 quintuplet, 3. 2 quintuplet, 3. Once I get my legs under me, I just try to play a little faster. 2 quintuplet, 3, and see what happens. I'm just doing whatever motions are feeling natural to me. Everyone seems to be doing arpeggios in different ways. My teacher did train me in university to move my elbow a lot, and I've had people knock on my practice room door saying, don't move your elbow that much. And I've seen DVDs of great pianists, and they don't seem like they're moving so much, but I just do what I gotta do, and I can keep trying different alternatives. And you can keep trying your arpeggios in lots of different ways as well, until you find a physical motion that's dependable for you. So we've done 2 quintuplet starting on here. We've done 1 quintuplet starting on here. Let's practice switching from triplets to quintuplets. While I was clapping that, in my head, I was hearing myself count 1 triplet, 2 quintuplet, and it sounded okay, so I think we're ready. 1 triplet, 2 quintuplet, 3 triplet, 4 quintuplet, 1. Anyway, so that's switching from triplets to quintuplets. 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3 quintuplet, 4 triplet, 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3 quintuplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 quintuplet, 3. 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3. Never done that before. 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3. Whenever I was clapping, I felt like the urge to make my 2 triplet pretty slow, so I'm afraid I might not be doing the rhythm right, so it's good to practice. 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3. There's another way to do it. 1 quintuplet, 2 triplet, 3. And now to back up, let's just try. I've practiced this arpeggio with you. I'll just try both hands and just see how it goes. I'll start from the beginning of part B. So we'll get to the end of the phrase later, now that we've had the trial by fire of all this clapping and counting. I hope you were able to follow along. I was trying to cover an elementary principle, as well as getting up to our quintuplets that Chopin uses. Do your best and practice your clapping and your counting. Good luck.